We are going to do a very quick review of solving one-step equations. We'll begin with this one. The object is to get the variable, in this case the letter p, to be by itself. To do that, I need to eliminate, to get rid of, the -4. What is the opposite of subtracting 4 or the opposite of -4? That would be positive or +4. When I combine those, I make a zero pair. They're gone. I am left with p. If I'm going to add 4 to this side, I need to add 4 to this side. -7 plus 4, you can think of it as signs are different, so I'm going to subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. 7 is the bigger number, so my answer would be -3. Or some of you just know if you start on a number line at -7 and move 4 to the right, because it's a +4, you would end at -3. To check my work, I would do -3 minus 4. Does that equal -7? If I start on a number line at -3, move 4 to the left, I do end at -7. To get rid of or eliminate the +8 or the +8, I would subtract 8 from both sides. That makes a zero pair, so I'm left with x by itself. -10 minus 8 more is -18. Or you can think of leave, change, opposite. So you have -10 plus 8 more negatives get you -18. Signs are the same. You add like normal and you keep the sign. I would like you to pause the video and do questions 3, 4, and 5 by yourself a minute. Pause the video, do question 3, 4, 5 by yourself. Thank you for pausing the video. Let's just double check our answers. For question number 3, I subtracted 12 from both sides. 5 minus 12 is -7. Question number 4, because that was a -84, I added 84. -14 plus 84 gets me 70. I added 9 to both sides and I ended at -6. Now, I don't want you to be confused because we have 2 signs in a row here. I need to eliminate the -3, so I'm going to do the opposite of that, and that is a +3. So m would equal -8 plus 3, which is -5. Now I have 2 negatives in a row, and if you think about the rules for for multiplying and dividing, a negative and a negative combined make a positive. So that is really n plus 8 equals 8. So I would have to subtract 8 from both sides, and n would equal 0. The last one is very straightforward, so I would subtract 12 from both sides, subtract 12, q equals -22. Now let's look at multiplying and dividing. As I've been talking about, a number written right next to a variable or a letter means multiplication. When we're going to undo multiplying, the inverse or the opposite of that would be division. I'm not going to make something negative if it was positive. I will leave the signs the same. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so I have 1y left. If I divide here, I have to divide here. Negative divided by positive is negative. 12 divided by 6 is 2. On this one, this is a multiplication because I have a number written next to a letter. I'm going to divide by -4. Negative divided by negative is positive. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I have 1x. divide this side by negative 4. Positive divided by negative is negative. Whoops. And then 24 divided by 4 is negative 6. I'd like you to pause the video and do the next two, number 3 and number 4, on your own. Pause the video. Thank you for pausing. Let's compare our answers. On this one, I divided both sides by negative 12. Negative divided by negative is positive. 96 divided by 12 is 6. 8 divided by 8 is 1. Negative 8 divided by 8 is negative 1. When our variable is part of the fraction, like either in the numerator or the denominator, that is a division problem. To undo the division, we are going to multiply by the reciprocal. So 4, we could do top times top, we would reduce. Negative times positive is negative. 15 times 4 is 60. Again, the variable is in the fraction, so that is a division. So I would multiply by negative 2. I will go on this side to multiply by negative 2. Positive times negative is negative. 14 times 2 is 28. I would like you to do the next two by yourself. So you're going to pause the video and do the next two, please. Thank you for pausing the video. I multiplied both sides by negative 3 because the variable is in the fraction, and I got positive 21. I multiplied both sides by 6. Negative times positive is negative, and I get negative 60. Now we have another set of problems, and I'm just going to kick it up a notch, probably a little different than what you did in 7th grade. But notice I have a fraction and a variable written right next to it. The variable or the letter is not in the fraction but written next to it. That means this is a multiplication problem. When we're going to undo multiplying, or the opposite of multiplying, we need to divide by 1/3. 1/3 divided by 1/3 is 1. So m, we have 1m. Now I need to divide by 1/3. You have a few choices. We have to think about our rules with fractions. When you're dividing by a fraction, it means multiply by the reciprocal. So I would do top times top, bottom times bottom, and I end at negative 12. We could test that. 1/3 times 12, and I wrote it as a fraction, sorry, so that you can multiply top times top, bottom times bottom, and then simplify. I would get 3. Yikes, what did I do wrong? Oh, I added in my brain. That's my yikes. Okay, sorry. I'm not going to start the video over. All right, top times top is 12. Bottom times bottom is 3. And when I reduce, I get 4. My brain was getting ahead of my pencil. My apologies. Again, on this one, I have a fraction, but the variable is not in the fraction, so I have to divide by 2/3. Then I would divide by 2/3. So x will equal something. This means I really will have 18/1 times the reciprocal, so I'm going to flip it upside down, 3/2. Top times top, that is 40, nope, let me think, 54/2. Reduce, that would equal 27/1, or 27. Oh, this one just has a fraction in it. They're trying to make it more difficult than it is. If I have a plus 1/2 here, how do I make plus 1/2 go away? subtract 1/2. So I'm left with h, subtract 1/2. 4 1/2 minus 1/2 is 4. The reason they're calling this a challenge problem, you'll see that it does not work out to a beautiful even number, but that will be okay. A number written next to a variable is multiplication. To undo that, we need to divide. So now I ask myself, how many times does 4 go into 29? It goes in 7 times. That would be 28. That would be 1 left over, so 7 1/4. Don't forget about on our calculators, we have my favorite key, the ABC key. We've talked about that with fractions. You could enter 29 ABC4 and it would simplify that for you. You could do 29 divided by 4. It would most likely give you a decimal and you would get 7 1/4 written as a decimal point. I would like you to try the next two by yourself, questions number 5 and number 6. This has a decimal point. That doesn't mean anything different. A number written next to a letter is multiplication. Please try problem 5 and 6. Pause the video. Thank you for pausing the video. A number written next to a variable means multiplication, so I'm going to divide. When we divide by fractions, that means multiply by the reciprocal. Top times top, bottom times bottom. 4 goes into 9 2 times. That's 8. I would have a remainder of 1, so I would have 2 1/4. Or again on your calculator, 9 divided by 4, top divided by bottom, always would get you 2.25. Either is okay with me. Even though this has a decimal point, no reason to freak out, I still divided. 10 divided by 1.5 in your calculator, 10 divided by 1.5, top divided by bottom forever gets me 15. On the next one, depending how well you work with fractions or how much you like them, I would have to say, whoa, we have a fraction in a fraction and the variables in the fraction, so that tells me this is division. Therefore, I need to multiply. And when we multiply with mixed numbers, we have to make it into an improper fraction. So you can do top times top, bottom times bottom. You could also use your calculator, that awesome ABC key. I would enter 12 times 4, ABC1, ABC2. I'll say that again. 12 times 4, ABC1, ABC2. When you are done, you would end at 54. This one, the only reason it is here as a challenge problem is because you know we'd have to subtract 1/2, subtract 1/2. But when you're working with fractions, you need common denominators. So they each have a common denominator of 6. So that would be 4 6 and 3 6. Subtract the top. I would end at y equals 1 6. Again, on our calculators, we could use the ABC key. I would enter 2 ABC3, that gets me 2/3, minus 1 ABC2, hit equal, and your calculator should tell you 1/6.